How do I become the most successful version of Kashawn? And then what does that look like?
You're being a leader. You're showing what it looks like to be diligent and all these other things, discipline. What is something that you feel like you've learned along the term of growing into a man that you be teaching to the kids over at Follow My Steps?
It starts with you. How could I hold a kid accountable if I'm not accountable? Not only do I expect whatever commitment the kid, provides to me, says to me, I make a commitment to them. Hold me accountable. Same way I'm going to hold you accountable, because that's something in the essence of all relationships that should be at one of the foundational pillars. If you're expecting this debt that you feel life owes you to be paid back, I'm sorry, it's not going to come. You are going to have to work harder. You are going to have to, do things that other kids aren't. And I'm completely, sympathetic to your situation, because it's tough. Like, why? Like I wish you weren't dealt these cards, but you were.
Welcome everybody to the Rally Cry podcast. I'm your host, Angel Rios, and I am so glad that you're here. Today, we're going to be having a podcast episode where it's all about improvement. I mean, that's really what it is when we come onto these podcasts. It's really about trying to find ways that we can really improve ourselves. And sometimes, it's really about finding those things and those conversations, and it's also sometimes finding those people. And today we have Kashawn Sanders, and I would just want to give you guys a little bit of a story time, because the way that we met was me looking through Facebook, and I just ran into your profile, and I saw all the great things you were doing. And in that moment of time, I was looking for a role model. I was looking for some inspiration and just ways to connect into the community. And when I reached out to you, I was like, hey, I was just wondering if we can sit down and have a talk and just talk about each other's goals. And you said yes, and I've learned a lot from you. You gave me advice there. And even from that advice you had given me, it was like about relationships, being more of what it is to be a man. I remember calling you maybe like a week later, and I was like, hey, Kashawn, I just want to let you know, like, everything that you was telling me, I applied it, and it definitely made me feel free. And, I just want to appreciate you for that time when, you didn't even know me, and also for you being here. So, yeah, man, welcome to the show.
Happy to be here, man. I mean, shout out Motu, right? Great Motu conversations.
Yeah.
But no, it was amazing to sit down and talk to you. Your energy is infectious. I tell you all the time, man. Mm-hmm. Being across from somebody like you, there's no way that anybody could meet you and not be like, man, just feeling energized, feeling good about life, and then be like, man, I met Angel. You met Angel? I want to introduce you to him, because he's doing amazing things. So thank you for having me. I
feel the love. Yeah, man. It's just like one of those wholesome moments. And before we go into more wholesome moments, I want to break the ice with you with Enough Said.
Okay.
Yeah. So if anybody doesn't know yet, Enough Said, a communication card game that I created, and it's a good way to start meaningful conversations and just break the ice. If it's someone that you've met, if it's someone you already know, it's all about having those kind of conversations. So I'm going to shuffle these right here in my hands, and then we're going to pick a card, and we're going to just break the ice together. So, here you go. Oh, we don't want that one. What does it say?
What qualities do you value most in others?
Okay. Definitely someone that is able to respect, loyalty, and determination. And I think there's so many other things, but I could definitely say that's something I'm thinking right now. How about you?
Man, I like that. So I don't want to steal it. So I'm going to go with, even though I echo the same sentiments, I'm going to go with somebody who's grounded in their why. The reason why, like why they do what they do, why they're passionate about what they do. Somebody who's grounded in that.
Love that. Yeah. I think that's perfect to kind of go into, like, what was your why, right? I think, growing up is one of those things that we're still trying to identify what it is that is our purpose. And when I hear about what is your why, it's also about what is your purpose. Where do you think you got the inspiration of finding your why in your younger years of being Kashawn?
It's funny because growing up, my why was probably completely different than my why now, right? And I think that just happens just because you get older. As you get older, hopefully you get wiser, because that's not always implied, right? Just because you get older doesn't mean you get wiser.
That's true.
But growing up, my why was probably something grounded in something materialistic. I think growing up, I just wanted to be a businessman and live that life where you're making a ton of money, you have the perfect life, right?
Yeah.
And that's not realistic. But then life teaches you stuff. You start learning more things. You get around other people. And then my why became, how do I become the most successful version of Kashawn? And then what does that look like? And then once I started looking at role models, individuals that I admired from some type of quality that they had that I would love to have, and I started building that ideal version of myself. Chasing that successful version of myself became my why.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I love when you mention about how, when you see someone that has a certain quality, I want to be able to learn from that person because that's a kind of quality that I find in myself that I'm trying to work on. And I think that's kind of going back to how it was for me, trying to just be around people and build my circle. And, when I saw the things you were doing, it was just taking a shot, you know what I mean? I think there's probably people that have probably taken the opportunity to try to reach out to others and maybe they get a no or a rejection and they might feel down from that. Was there ever a moment when you reached out to someone that you probably wanted to learn from and they told you no or rejected you?
Yes. Yes and yes. Definitely. I definitely felt,
How do you bounce back from that?
Because at the essence of everything, you have to look at the other perspective, right? So, the older I get, the more important. The older I get, the more I realize the importance of time. Right?
Yeah.
You can't give everybody your time.
Right.
And it's super selective. And then now having a family, and my little guy KJ, love him to death. It's like you want to share these precious moments with people that truly value it. Right. So you can't give everybody your time. And so on the other side of that, I had to realize, well, maybe that person was busy. Maybe that person, just couldn't spare that time, right?
Yeah.
So for me, how that adjusted my why and the qualities is that I want to be able to give as much time as I can with respect without jeopardizing my family time. That's a tough balance, right?
Yeah.
But also, I realize the importance of transparency. So yes, I reached out to somebody and they didn't necessarily meet up or they didn't want to share that time. I respected it, right? Probably not how I would have gone about it, or I would have explained it, been transparent why I couldn't, and how we could figure out another time to make it work. So for me now, I invite people down to nonprofit events. So yeah, I can give you a moment of time, but I have to do it when I'm already expending time somewhere else. So that way I can still give you the time, but I can't create this time solely because of, my other obligations.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like, when it comes to trying to find a mentor initially, it's really about, finding ways to strategize that time that you're going to have with that person. And it's also being mindful that maybe it might not be that time in that moment and it might be later. But not to be so stuck on the fact that you wasn't able to get what you wanted in that moment as well. Because I think sometimes, and I've been there where, I'm trying to, move up to the next ladder and I'm trying to figure out what is the next step for me. And if that's looking for people or finding help in some form of way, it's one of those things where if I don't see anything moving, I almost be hard on myself about those things. And I know you mentioned that, you're a dad and stuff. And, I remember when we went to the baby shower and that was a wholesome experience as well. So I appreciate you for, letting me join you on that experience because that's big. You know what I mean? How is it like to be a father now? I feel like that's still kind of fresh for you in a way. But, every year as he grows, it's always a new experience. How is that like?
He changed my why. He changed my why. He is a huge part of my why.
Yeah.
Made me, I thought I was an adult before. I thought I was a quote unquote man before.
Yeah.
It was different when you have this little human that's depending on every little thing, for every little thing, whether it be clothe, shelter, protect, and there's no, I'm tired. There's no, I'm going to get another hour of sleep. No, you got to get up, you got to move, you got to continue to provide, continue to be there for them, nourish them and pour into them. Right. And that's important because especially the work that, that we do with youth, it actually helped me even have a deeper connection to the work that we do now as a parent, because I understand the gravity of parents entrusting their child to us in the program is even deeper. I understood it before, but now it's like, wow, they really entrusted something that they nurtured, to us, for us to better them, and we take that seriously. I take it super serious. Yeah.
Now, I appreciate you for that. And, it's one of those things where it's being very introspective about that action. The fact that you're trusting me with your kid, your child, so that I can, whatever it is that they need help in, but you trust me to help them. And I think, with everything you're doing with Follow My Steps, and trust me, I love everything that I see with Follow My Steps. Like, literally, it's following through, right? And, with 5K runs, with having the fitness Saturdays, I've been to a couple of those. And it's just the environment that it sets for the kids. And that's one thing that I love. And, you being a father now and like tying in that how what you're doing with the kids at Follow My Steps kind of all coincides with each other. It's one of those things that I think about, especially as a man role model. And, you're being a leader. You're showing what it looks like to be diligent and all these other things, discipline. What is something that you feel like you've learned along the term of growing into a man that you be teaching to the kids over at Follow My Steps?
Accountability.
How do you teach accountability? I feel like sometimes you can tell people how to be accountable, but is there a certain habit that people need to do in order to be responsible?
So I love that. So it starts with you. How could I hold a kid accountable if I'm not accountable? So not only do I expect whatever commitment the kid, provides to me, says to me, I make a commitment to them.
Right.
If you reach out to me, I will get back to you. I will be as quick as possible. If you're in a jam, I'm there. Right. But I expect that, when we have a conversation about action, you tell me your goals, that you're working towards those. And same way that I expect you to hold me to my word, vice versa, accountability. So I'm practicing the same thing. So a lot of the conversations that stem around the young men and young women is, listen, so why didn't you do this thing? They'll tell you why, right? Okay, well, did I not hold my obligation? Yes, you did. Accountability is huge. So again, showing them, listen, hold me accountable. Same way I'm going to hold you accountable, because that's something in the essence of all relationships that should be at one of the foundational pillars, right? Is accountability. And that's for everything. Work, professional, like your professional relationship, your personal relationship, right? Relationship with family members, hold them accountable, right? Because at the end of the day, if these are people that are pouring into you, right, but they're not held accountable, you're not being held accountable, then that doesn't really jive well for a good relationship, a healthy relationship. But you need that accountability. And then on the other side of that, when you don't follow through on things, you need to own it. You need to own it. You need to be able to say, I didn't get it done, but I'm going to get back to you. That's on me.
Yeah.
Own it. So that's one of the things it's hit me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you mentioned the owning part, it really gives me a nostalgic moment when we were talking at Motu for the first time. And you was talking about like owning your responsibility. Like, sometimes like it's not about, what the other person had done or anything it is that you feel that they're doing, but more of the fact that you own your own responsibilities. And like, it's not about being perfect or anything like that, but it's also like when you have a mistake, you just own up to it. And that is how you could be accountable. Like, you're taking account for the things that you do, and if it's actually serving or is it not serving. Is it a value or is it not a value? And like constantly reassuring what that is to you, which kind of almost brings back to like, what is your why? Like, why am I doing this? And when I understand for myself why, then I can be accountable for it. So I love that. And I was thinking about how you mentioned when you was younger, you was a knucklehead, right?
Yep.
And how did you find yourself in that moment when you was not really listening, let's say, and you was just being hard about whatever people may be telling you, but now becoming this leader? What is something that was pivotal for you in that moment when you was being a knucklehead, that something maybe hit you, and then you were like, it's time for me to start taking lead?
I have people that help me accountable. I hate to keep repeating it, but I have people that help me accountable. I remember my senior year, high school, I had this English teacher. She's retired now, Miss Keenan. She wasn't a teacher I wanted, but she was a teacher I needed. And I also had a stats teacher, Mr. Sharp. He's actually at Sci Tech now. But
Okay.
Again, wasn't a teacher that I wanted, but one of the teachers that I needed. And they held me accountable. Mr. Sharp held me accountable because I went to Central High School. So shout out Golden Eagles. But
there you go.
they had a strict uniform policy, And I remember I came in with a dress shirt, and it had the buttons and everything, but it had a hood on the back. And I came into class, walking through class, and the teachers, they would stand outside the door, right?
Yeah.
And I walked through, and he was like, "Oh, you got a hoodie. You got to take that off because you can't wear a hoodie." And I was like, "I can't. It's made into the shirt." And then, so he's like, "Wow, what are you gonna say?" I said, "It's just the design of the shirt."
Yeah.
And so later in class, I'm sitting down at my desk, and I feel a tug on the hood, on the back of the hood, like a tug like this.
Yeah.
It's him, and he realizes that there's little buttons, the clip that you can take the hood off.
Oh.
Yeah, because it was detachable.
Uh-huh.
And he took the time to unclip every single button of that hood, and then he throws it on my desk, and he was like, "Nice try, Mr. Sanders," and he says it in his accent, because he would always butcher my last name. But I was so mad, mad. And I remember years later just thinking back to that moment, because again, I was knucklehead, right? Thinking I could just lie and get away with it. I told that lie to other teachers, and they just like, okay, whatever. I'm not gonna fight it. I'm not gonna deal with it.
Yeah.
They probably knew I was, lying, whatever. But he called me out on it. He called me out. Not only did he call me out, he challenged me, and he put me in my place when I needed to be, showing me as a young man that you are going to be held accountable, and you shouldn't just freely give your word, give out a statement if that's not true. Because then somebody's going to hold you accountable. You don't want to have that moment happen in something crucial when you need it, right? So I remember I ran into him after I graduated college in Costco with his wife, and I just thanked him so much. I said, I don't know if you remember this moment. And he started laughing.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I look back at that, and I say, you weren't the teacher I wanted, trust me, but you were the teacher I needed, because you were a male role model I needed in my life, because other people didn't hold me accountable. You did. I understand you were hard on me for a reason. So that was a great moment for me. And then Miss Keenan, she was my English teacher. She had us write an essay about our lives. Talks about, like, hey, what are you doing for college and X, Y, and Z. And she invited me down to her office. She read my essay, and I talked about my life and upbringing. Youngest of 5. My mother had cancer when I was 11, turning 12. So 3 months before my 12th birthday, my grandmother passed away in March. My birthday's in May. In April, my dad left.
Wow.
And 2 weeks before my 12th birthday, my mother tells me and my siblings, like, hey, I got stomach cancer. I'm going in for surgery. 50-50 shot I make it out, right? And so she makes it out. But in that whole realm, I call it the perfect storm for us. It was like he went from 2-parent household to one. That one parent is now disabled. She had 35% of her stomach removed. I remember doing the Heimlich maneuver on my mom as a kid and then going to school the next day. I didn't know. I learned that from like TV, right? What if it didn't work, right? Just stuff like that, like a lot of kids, which is why I love the work we do with Follow My Steps, is because they have a lot of problems they can't check at the door, but people expect them to. So you don't know what I just dealt with last night. I could have dealt with something crazy. You don't even know it. And so when I wrote that essay, I wrote about my life and experiences. She was like, Kashawn, I can't imagine what you've been through, right? And I was a knucklehead in her class. And she said, but I have to be honest. I have to be real with you right now. And I said, okay. So she said, if you're expecting this debt that you feel life owes you to be paid back, I'm sorry, it's not going to come. You are going to have to work harder. You are going to have to, do things that other kids aren't. And I'm completely, sympathetic to your situation, because it's tough. Like, why? Like I wish you weren't dealt these cards, but you were. So what are you going to do about it? And that challenge and that level of accountability in that moment, it hit me, because she said, so you're going to college next year. She was like, what everyone did in high school doesn't matter. 0-0 scoreboard. If you think of it like game, 0-0. And that hit me. That hit me hard. And that made me go extremely hard. So I remember that's part of the reason why I graduated early. I worked 2-3 jobs. I graduated a year early, magna cum laude. And I knew for a fact I could not not take that seriously. Like, wow, life isn't going to give me this debt back. Wow, no one's going to be sympathetic on my situation, or they're going to just say, oh, I'm so sorry that happened to you, but it's not going to excuse any of my behavior or me not working hard. That piece was huge, and those individuals were pivotal. Of course, my mom was superwoman to me, my first mentor, and watching her go through everything in life. was insane. But that kind of reaffirmed my why, held me accountable from these individuals that were outside of my household. But at the same time, watching my mom, go through cancer, losing her husband, losing her mother, and then still put food on the table, making a way. That was huge. She was, part of the reason why I couldn't just be like, oh, I'm tired. At college, I'm working 2-3 jobs. I can't tell somebody who's sacrificed so much, right, for us to say, I'm tired. I just want to sleep. I don't want to go to class today. I don't want to try hard. I don't want to stay up for all, like 2-3 o'clock in the morning getting these assignments done because I'm working and I'm doing all these other things. No, you can't do that. You can't do that to somebody who sacrificed so much for you. So from that ordeal, it shaped who I am as a person. That's why I mentioned every year, hopefully you grow wiser, right? Every year you get older, hopefully you grow wiser. And through my life circumstances, knock on wood, so far that's been true. Right?
Yeah. No, I love that. And I appreciate you for even sharing that, because it really takes the moments in your life that are the most hard and almost ways to like reflect and realize that things are not going to always work out in the ways that you want it, but sometimes the ways that you allow it as well. And, I can only imagine on how that was like, with, hearing those news from mom and then dad leaving. And mind you, like I can even resonate in the fact of I never met my dad, right? And so, I was raised by my grandma and my mom, and just trying to figure out just ways to learn and understand things, because I think what happens is that the reason why we can be so hard-headed about things is because we don't know, and we feel like there's so many things coming at us, and we're just like, but why do I have to do that? Like, why is this going on? Why me though? Why is this happening to me? Why is everything in my way? Mm-hmm. And I feel like that could have been something that you probably were even saying in that moment, like, what's going on? Like, why is this happening to me? And feeling like, something does owe you, because I felt that myself, mm-hmm. like that, like, oh, but why, and almost wanting to prove yourself, mm-hmm. and realizing that, proving yourself is good and that has a good amount of energy. But after a while, like all that gas in the world is just going to go out, you know what I mean? And all that drive is always going to deplete, and you're always going to have to find another outlet for that. And yeah, no, I hope that everybody that is listening is really about realizing the things that is happening in your life and not settling for what that was, but for going for something that is so much bigger than you, mm-hmm. and realizing that the world is so much bigger than what you've experienced. And that's why it's important to find a mentor and stuff like that. I know you mentioned mom was definitely one of them, right? She's super mom. Like after getting out of that and, going hardcore with 2 jobs and going to school and all those things, throughout that time, did you happen to find anyone that, allowed you to keep on going? Because I feel like sometimes people end up in burnout and be like, I just can't do it, because nowadays things are so expensive. Trying to get a car and everything changing, it can be a lot. Yeah, what was that like for you? Did you happen to have someone as a mentor? Did you look for them, or?
So that's a great question. And it's funny because I feel like that's when I kind of figured out the quote unquote secret for me to be successful, just by like doing it, not thinking about it. And for me, what it was I created these circle or groups of friends in my life, and I didn't do it like intentionally. Mm-hmm. But what I realized was the friends that I had that I could laugh and joke with, right? Like it's good old times, you can laugh, joke, but it's nothing that you're really going to get anything accomplished, right? Like there's no knock, but like if you have casual time, you just watch TV, joke with your friends, reminisce about the old days. Those friends, I realized when I was working so hard, and kept going, I spent less and less time with them, right? Wasn't a knock on those friends. Wasn't anything bad that happened. It was just like I couldn't spend time laughing and joking because I had to prioritize school, work, and then also just navigating life as, a young man trying to figure out the next steps after college, right? Because, you go to college, but you got to figure out the next step too, right? You get the degree, but then you got to figure out what's coming next.
For real, yeah.
It's so you're always going, right? And then for me, I was always thinking about the next step. So I was like, okay, so what other groups of people, did I have? I started when I was working hard in the classroom. I remember my freshman year, I was in danger of losing one of my scholarships, right? Because it was a tuition waiver, and I had took this oceanography class my first year, and I thought it was the best thing in the world. No homework, no quizzes, 4 tests.
Oh, wow.
I was like,
sound good.
I was like, ooh, wow. 8:00 in the morning, oceanography, talking about sediments, currents. Put me right to sleep. Got my first test, D+.
Ooh.
Yeah. So then my scholarship was rooted upon me having a GPA of a C+ or higher, right? So I'm at a D+ for that class, right? Only 3 tests left, right? So that was grind time.
Yeah.
I had to grind just to get that average up. And I remember I moved my seat from the back of the class. It was auditorium style. So, like, when you're at the top, you're looking down at everybody else, it was like cascading like that. And I moved it all the way to the front to kids that kept answering questions in class. Because I said, you know what? I'm not the smartest when it comes to oceanography. Not a knock anybody who's doing oceanography. Just personally, I'm just not interested in sediments and currents and stuff. But for those people who are, I'm going to turn this into a competition. That's how I'm very competitive.
Yeah.
So I'm going to sit next to that person through osmosis. Like, they're my opponent. They don't know it, but I know it.
Yeah.
And that's me if I applied myself in this, right? So I'm sitting next to these folks, get to know them. All of a sudden we build like a study group. Now I'm learning through them, and I'm picking up on stuff. It's coming to me, and I pulled out a passing grade, and then I realized in that moment, wow, I could really do this with every class. Where, all right, I sit in the back first week, figure out who's who, create my opponent, and then that opponent is just me if I apply myself in this subject, and then I sit next to them, and through osmosis, you just realize, wow, this person's actually pretty cool, right? And you start talking, you form study groups. So now instead of me being a college student, closeted, I'm secluded, I'm not talking to anybody, maybe one friend, whatever, but I'm in a group where people who are actively involved in class. And then now when we start doing study groups, it's 4 or 5 of us. We got 10 chapters. We split it up. I do less work, but I hone my material. They hone their material, and we share notes, and we get it done in half the time versus doing it alone. So then now I learned that. And then I started realize, okay, this is the group of friends I have for school, right? And then, this is a group of friends I have that care about fitness. This is a group of friends I have that care about this area of life, relationships I can talk about, like core stuff, right? And through that, I realized, like, I choose when I enter these groups. I choose how much time I put into these different friends, right? But it's not like I'm telling this friend, hey, you're only here for this. It's through just, like, taking a step back and, like, wow, I've built up a good network of people that I trust in certain areas. Maybe other friends might overlap. But ultimately, it put less pressure on that person, because what I realize is a lot of times when we're passionate about something, we try to force that into a good friend, right? You ever seen somebody like passionate about a diet, a workout, and then they're like, hey, you got to try this, right? And the friend's just like trying to tell you politely that they don't care about it or your subject, right? You're forcing that on that person. Why force it on that person? Why not find somebody that actually is passionate about that too? They're your group of friends that you could talk to about that, versus you then having to like force that on somebody who's that's not their route, right? The friends that you can laugh and joke with are not necessarily your business friends, right? So you have these creative business ideas and all these aspirations. You're talking to the wrong people.
Yeah.
Nothing against them, right? But that's not them. So why would you force that on them? Put that on people who feed that into you. You got this think tank, this level of collaboration in that group. And that's when I realized, like, wow, if I keep doing that, I make these groups of friends, then I don't put stress or pressure on one person to try to conform to something they're not, and vice versa, right? And I control my time. And I feel like that's my secret. That's one of the things that I did and I learned in college. I still kind of feed into that now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a gem right there. And I think one of the things that happen is that we want one person or a group of people that are friends to be everything for us. And maybe that comes from maybe being scared to go out in the open and find more people and stuff, because that can also be intimidating. But it's just like what you said. Why would you want to force something upon someone that's almost being a disservice to them and you? And then you're also putting too much expectations on them. That's even worse. And that is one of the things that, people, and I have done in the past as well, like expecting that things have to be this way, that someone has to be this way so that I can get the thing that I want. But sometimes, and I came to the realization myself, you get put in a position just so that you can start thinking more outside of the box, you know. And if things were just so directional, then, you know, you wouldn't really appreciate it because it was just so easy to get to it. But the fact that you had to strategize in your own head, like, oh, like, this is competition. Since I'm a competitive guy, I know that for me, all right, this is competition. All right, let's do it. And then, but you found out, like, your group of people so that you were able to, you know, succeed. And that's, like, one thing I've learned, like, just being a person, like, out in the community and just, like, trying to learn from people and whatnot, is realizing that the person that's close to home might not be the people I'd be able to talk about. And sometimes even accomplishments. Like, sometimes you got to have those accomplishment conversations with the people that would understand that, rather than maybe it is significant other or friends that you laugh with. And I think I want to ask too, you know, for the people out there, how do you manage the kind of people that, you know, take it off wrong, where you don't have enough time for them? I feel like that's where we're trying to people please the people, and we're just so conflicted about wanting to be successful, but these are people that we really care about, and they feel some type of way about doing that. How do you maneuver through that? Have you ever had an experience like that?
I have, but my conversations kind of stem along the same thing. Like, same way that somebody can say, oh, you know, but you're not making time for me. It's like, okay, but phone works two ways, right? So I can send a text, but I can also get a text back, right? And as long as you're still communicating with that person and you're just being transparent, hey, I have this going on, or I have to go to this event, or I'm working at this job, they understand that you're busy, right? As long as the communication is there, right? So it's different if they've been texting you, you're just not replying back. That's kind of on you, you know, or they're reaching out, you're not. But if you're communicating, hey, I'm busy, and they understand that you're busy, then they go on and they then do something else with their time. Hopefully they're working on themselves. They're working on, you know, being their version of success, because everyone's version is different, right? But as long as they're feeding into that, then it's great. But the conversation I have with folks is like, listen, our relationship never changed. Still value, great friend, great memories and stuff like that. I just have these other obligations that, like, quite frankly, I have to prioritize, because there's something that I built so I built into what it is now, right? You're more than welcome, right? To come with me or accompany with what I have going on here. But now that's a choice they have to make, right? Now, if they don't want to, then that's fine. You don't hold any animosity, but it can't work to where they expect you to just continue to spend time with them, and then they don't see what you have going on too. So now it's like, okay, well, it works two ways, right? And that's just kind of what I realized. And all the friends that I have, I said, now currently understand that. Kashawn reach out, he'll tell you, I was busy. I was, you know, with KJ. I was at the nonprofit. I was at work. I was working out. Feel free to, you know, you can stop by and see KJ. You can stop by and, you know, come work out with me, or I'll tell you what I'm doing. But I don't hold any animosity if we can't make it work to meet up, because at the end of the day, it's still love.
Yeah, totally agree, man. Yeah, no, I think, you know, sometimes, like, you might run across people that, you know, might feel some type of way, but it's like what you said. If you can communicate and do your part, and knowing that you're doing your part, owning it, right? Then you'll feel okay about it. And it's just about if they do their part, you know what I mean? And it's not holding anything against them or anything like that, but it's just letting them know, like, hey, I'm just busy, and that's it. And, you know, I definitely want to also congratulate you for this year's nomination for Business West 40 Under 40.
Thank you.
That's a very big accomplishment, right?
Thank you.
And, you know, I think not only me, but a lot of people in the community seen all the work that you're doing for Follow My Steps, with everything, right? With the youth, the 5K, and just being consistent, right, with that. And, you know, I want to ask too, when you're becoming a leader and you're being accountable and you're doing all these things and being diligent, it almost feels like there can be even more pressure with that. What do you do with being successful as a leader and handle that pressure? Well,
thank you, by the way, first with the 40 Under 40. That was Follow My Steps, man. That wasn't me. That wasn't Kashawn Sanders. That was Tyrone Williams. That was Anthony Payne. That was Hubert Thefton. That was Sylvan Fema Song. That was Frank Bruton. That was Zane Stone. That was Sammy Elias. You know, Kayla Sanders. So on and so forth. Like,
shout out to them.
We have an amazing team, and it continues to grow. Right, continues to build, and it's a combination of efforts. Right, my name was announced, but that award was Follow My Steps, and for me, I look at it like I haven't earned that award. So it gives me something to keep pushing forward. And I'm even more competitive now because now I got to put in overtime to earn it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I got to put in overtime to make sure that everybody sees, okay, wow, oh, they're continuing to push the bar. He's making sure that at the end of the day, I could be like, hey, now I feel like I earned it. Which whatever day that day may never come, right?
Yeah.
But that's just how I'm wired, right? So I love the team we built and how I look at. Apologize for the question of the leadership.
Yeah, no, no worries. I think you said it really well as well, and mentioning everybody that kind of made Follow My Steps. I guess it was just a question of mentioning how do you handle the pressure behind success? Because as much as we want to be leaders, some leaders that are out there, realize that how much pressure it is to be a leader. And so I think you pretty much mentioned it, like mentioning how well, it wasn't just me, but since I have a big team and everybody that kind of made Follow My Steps together, it makes me confident and probably not even as pressured, but knowing that even with this award, I'm always keep going on up.
Yeah, so. The pressure is always going to be there, right? And I think the pressure is good, right? Because nobody wants to be in a situation where they're completely comfortable, because then it doesn't help you form different ideas. I think everyone in an organization feels the pressure. We got our 5K this upcoming Saturday, and this seat cool, but it's hot at the same time, right? So because we're always moving, we're always trying to say, how do we make this event better? We challenge ourselves, and I feel like that comes from the pressure. And it's when you have a great team, right, and a great environment, and quite frankly, family. Everyone's like family. Everyone is family, and we end up creating something that challenges us to take it to the next level every year. So the pressure, we welcome it. I welcome it. I don't blink. I always make sure we're here for it. It does get nerve-wracking and unsettling, but that's a reminder of your life.
Yeah, that I love that, a reminder of your life. I love that. And I think for people that don't know, how was Follow My Steps created, right? We know you were going to school and, definitely being around people that, were able to allow you to be successful. How was Follow My Steps even created in the first place?
Yeah, so we started, Tyrone, when I say we, Tyrone and myself, Tyrone Williams and myself, we started Follow My Steps in April of 2020. And
2020, that was COVID era. Yeah.
Perfect time to start a nonprofit.
Yeah.
So Tyrone and I, we actually were talking in his living room, similar to this, right? We were just talking about everything that was going on. It was right at the heightened point of the George Floyd trial and that incident.
Yep.
And you saw a lot of protesting, you saw a lot of stuff going on, and rightfully so. But for us, we challenged each other as young men, black men, right? We said, well, how can we change? How can we impact the next generation? And we started talking about our lives, our upbringing. Him being from Boston, me from Springfield, both growing up in under-resourced communities, but having very similar, situations grow up that impacted us, that challenged us and shaped who we are as young men. And then we met at UMass Dartmouth, and we've clicked ever since. We always challenge each other to be better. That's just that's nature of the game. So I graduated in 3 years. He went up and got his master's. So it was just like we're always pushing each other, right?
Yeah.
So it was our junior. It was his junior year, my senior year. We had this class. I remember the professor's name, and she had challenged the whole class with getting an internship. Right? She's part of the course. Like, hey, here. Get his paper, have them sign what your internship's going to be. And we had, before she had finished, Tyrone and I sitting next to each other, it's auditorium style. So we're towards the back. And I remember maybe 5 or 6 people of color in a classroom of over 40 kids. Yeah. Right. And right when she finishes, all of our colleagues and counterparts, other fellow students are just like, I'm going to contact my uncle. I'm going to contact my dad. Oh, my dad knows this person or that person or that firm or that. And then they knew where to go. They had this instant network, right? Tyrone and I are looking at each other like, we're about to cold call. We're about to go on the internet, do some walk-ins, do all those other things, trying to get this internship. We don't know anything, we don't have those connections. My mom's a pastor. He's like, I don't have that network. So it was a moment that we, in April of 2020, had both instinctively, we were like, you remember that time? Why did we not have that network? I'm like, it's because when you're growing up in an under-resourced community, you're not worried about like down the road. You're like, man, I need to get it now. I can't, I have stuff going on in the household, or, you know, the situation right now isn't the best. You know, I'm just trying to make it out. I'm trying to get to tomorrow, get to the end of the week maybe.
Bro, yeah.
You're not thinking about 5 years down the road. And I met Angel Rios. He's doing amazing things. Oh, I'm going to keep his number on my phone, and I'm going to keep following up with him to keep checking. You meet people, and it just, it goes out the window.
Dissipate almost.
That's it. You're not taught that, you know, because you don't have the privilege. You're too busy worried about trying to survive, not to thrive, which is why we call our program, our main flagship program, Thrive Over Survive, right? So when we started talking about it, we started asking each other, well, what do we need? And then we started saying, well, if I had me at this age, like somebody, a mentor to show me this in my career path, I would be here. I would be doing this. We played the shoulda, coulda, woulda game, right?
Yeah.
And we said, well, imagine there's an organization that can connect kids and with individuals, mentors in their desired career path or area of interest, right? Teach them about financial literacy. Put them in front of somebody that looks like them, that's more tailored to who they are, right? And that's how Follow My Steps was created. Nice. And every year we pushed the envelope, added fitness, added mental health. We built a 5-year plan with kids. So get them thinking about things 5 years from now, right? In different phases. So we've grown from community partnerships, individuals that are like yourselves that have been super helpful, inspiring, sharing their stories, sharing what they're working on, and figuring out how the ways to bring, you know, or peel back layers from this youth, right? Nowadays, because a lot of youth are, especially coming from the pandemic, you know, they're a lot more closed off. So we're always doing new stuff to shake things up a little bit.
I be seeing it,
Yeah. So that's kind of long-winded how we formed, and then we just, through osmosis, knowing great people, have a great team.
I love it, man. And that wasn't long-winded at all. I think it's very interesting hearing on how things were created, and, you know, hearing back from like how it was for you when you were younger, realizing that, you know, you had to just start being more accountable, and realizing that when you was in a position when like you got that D+, you was like, oh shoot. And then realizing at the same time when you started being around people that also want to thrive, you're like, oh, I end up thriving with them. And it's just like, wow, it's just so organic. It's so natural. Rather than forcing it upon someone else, I can just do it with people that are already kind of doing it, already that are in that energy to do that. So, and then like Follow My Steps comes in, two people that both have values, similar experiences, backgrounds, and both people of color as well. And, you know, it's really dope to hear stuff like that, because with everything that you got going on, I think people need to know more about what Follow My Steps is about. So I want to ask, you know, for the people that are listening, what is Follow My Steps? Like, what does it entail? I know you pretty much briefly mentioned a good amount of it, but if you wanted to add anything more, what more is Follow My Steps?
Yeah, the way I sum it up is Follow My Steps is the way any individual can mentor a younger version of themselves, right? So we pair kids, high school age to early college, for young men and young women, with individuals in their desired career path. We teach them about financial literacy, community engagement, professional development. We also work on their personal selves too, right? And we get them to buy into their community so they can see that their community has all these resources that, quite frankly, nowadays is constantly overlooked, right? Because social media, it's easier to go on social media and the youth to compare themselves, right, to what they're seeing. Because social media is all highlights. You know, it's highlights of somebody. You don't see on social media too often when somebody shows the struggle, the grind, the waking up early in the morning to put food on the table, to be their best selves. You don't see a lot of that. You see the vacations, you see the money, you see the materialistic things. But in our community, we have people around them that are interested, are willing to volunteer their time and connect with youth, that can share their stories, that can give them a leg up, introduce them to their network and their resources, so they don't have to have an experience when they go to college and have to get an internship. They already have them, right? So what's important for us is connecting the dots, right? Because at the end of the day, at the end of the day, myself and you and everyone else, we are a resource, you know, and especially for our community. So if we leave our community, right, and we go out and we live in another community, let's say we're successful and we We live a life. Now we're injecting that community with a resource. Now we take a resource out of our own community that could have helped bolster it. It could have helped mentor youth. It could have helped, possibly change somebody's life, right? Provide them that gem that they didn't have before, right? Be that figure, be that person that they can call and that they can reach out to. So our goal is to create an ecosystem of youth that go through our program, that want to stay, give back, and then be that helping hand when we're long and gone.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's one of those where with everything that you've learned in your personal life is having a space where, like, these are the resources that I wish I had when I were younger, and realizing that everything that you do and follow my steps is role modeling to the thing that they can be also taking lead for themselves as well, and encouraging leaders to be able to be successful. So I love that. I definitely love that. And I definitely want to go into our next segment, and it's called Rally Rapids. Right. I give you 5 words, and with these 5 words, you're just going to tell me whatever you're thinking with these 5 words. So we're going to start with the first one. You ready?
Yep.
All right. So the first one is mentors.
When I think of mentors, I think of individuals that have blazed the trail, blazed the path, that are willing to impart their wisdom and give back. They're the pipeline and the backbone of individuals that are their own version of success, but they're also a reflection of selflessness.
I love that. That is very well said. Second one is discipline.
Discipline. When I think of discipline, I think of a person sticking to their why.
There you go. I like that. That is a good one. Why? Why am I doing what I'm doing? Oh, this is why. This is why I'm going to continue doing it, because it matters. See what I did there? Yeah. All right, third one is leadership.
Leadership. I think of a person recognizing within themselves that the time has come for them to voice their thoughts in an avenue, in a community, if they will, that is willing to put their own preconceived notions aside to get to the resolution of a greater good, whatever that is, right? So that individual is willing to say, here is my idea, right? And when you make yourself vulnerable and it's like, here's my idea, and you step up in a crowd, that's intimidating, right? But then knowing that that idea could help bolster some serious change, right? But doing it in a way that can call everyone in, not out.
Yes, I like it. I like it. 4 is dedication. Dedication.
It's consistency. It's the respect for the grind, respect for the process and the work. It's the notion that we're not going to take shortcuts, because we know that to really get the quality result is to show up day in and day out.
Big one that stuck out for me was shortcuts, because I feel like when people are being dedicated, they're always trying to find shortcuts, and sometimes it's better just to take the long way, because you're able to see more. I love that. And last one, because you a dad, family. Talk.
Family. That's my why.
Yeah, there you go.
That's my why. Family.
I think you said it enough throughout the whole thing, for sure. Yeah.
Family's my why. Family's my why. It's my legacy. It's the reason why every day I wake up, rain, sleet, snow, shine, doesn't matter. It's the reason why I'm going to go out and I'm going to give each day my best, regardless of how the previous day ended.
Yeah. Dedication. I love it. Yeah, guys. Well, I hope you guys got something from this episode. And, it's always refreshing to talk to you. It gives me nostalgia from when we first met. And every time when we talk, it's just always good to just chime in and just see how we're doing and stuff like that. So it's always a pleasure having you, man, especially on the show. It's definitely long overdue. I know we had to move a couple of things and stuff like that, but I'm so glad that we made it. And, with this episode airing, it's probably going to be just right after the 5K, but I know you got a couple other things coming up. Is there anything else that's happening for Follow My Steps that you want to let everybody know about?
Yeah, so we have our Shooting for Success event. That's actually the shirt I'm wearing now.
Fly.
It's going to be September 27th and 28th.
Okay.
Great event. It's actually a career readiness event, disguised as a 3-on-3 basketball tournament.
Nice.
Opportunity for youth to get connected with individuals from different industries. but also play basketball and win some scholarship prizes.
Yeah.
It's going to be a middle school bracket, high school bracket, college bracket, and it's going to be a great time. We've done it the past, I think it's 3 years now. So we're heading into our fourth. Super excited. It's a great event, a lot of fun, and it's an opportunity for parents to come down too and really just get something else out of just watching the kids play basketball, but also seeing the gears turning and their connections forming when they build their own network, right? The youth build their own network. So it's amazing, and we have a lot of great community partners to come down for it. Yeah.
No, I love it, and I'll probably want to be there anyways. And then with the 5K, definitely going to be looking forward to that. I'll probably have to walk that one. However, if I could run, I definitely would run. That's only because I have myself a basketball injury, but it's all good. We still walking. But yeah, no, I really appreciate you, man, for coming. I really hope that everybody that's listening really got something from this and able to connect with Follow My Steps. Make sure that you also follow up with that event that's coming down soon. I'll make sure that all the information that we had talked about will also be down in the description below, so make sure you check that out. If you're on Spotify, your favorite podcast platform, if it's Apple, or even if you follow us on Instagram, just make sure that you follow us so that you know when there's great guests that come on, and just follow up with anything else that's coming up. I want to let you guys know the next thing that's coming soon is this month on August 28th will be a Games of Poetry event, and it's just going to be a good time for play games and connect with people, and also end your night with some poetry over at White Lion. I'll make sure that I'll leave that information down below. But before we go, I'm going to ask you, my friend.
Okay.
What size in shirt and what color? Blue, white, or black?
So I'm a large, but I like XL because I like a little baggy.
Okay,
yeah.
XL.
And then man, classic black shirt, man.
All right.
I love
XL
the classic.
black?
Yeah.
XL black.
Yeah.
Got something for you. This is for you.
Oh, man. Look at the packaging, too.
Yeah.
This is serious packaging. You got the zip and everything.
Yeah, I know this. You got the zip and everything.
Mind if I take it out?
Yeah, you go take it out. It's unboxing. It's like Christmas, you know?
Ooh. And it got the QR code for the tag, too.
Yep.
Rally cry, keep moving.
Yep.
That's clean. That's clean.
Moving.
That's clean, man. And
Yeah,
I love that, too.
Yeah, the QR code is an exclusive episode just for you. So anybody that has a shirt is an episode that only you can watch.
Really?
Yeah, it's about positivity and how positivity is something that allows you to thrive, right? And allow you to move forward and not think that it's just being ignoring the bad things. I think sometimes find it like, oh, you're being positive, you're just ignoring. No, there's a strategy to that. So,
that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
It's innovative.
Yeah, man. So I appreciate you for coming. As always, I feel like I could keep saying that I appreciate you because you're just such a dope guy, man. And until next time, you guys be easy. Peace.